I mean, look, people will say, oh, it's not just Caitlyn, it's other stuff too. Why is the Liberty so valuable? Caitlyn doesn't play for them. Blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. The league more than doubled its value since she showed up. That is not a coincidence. It's Caitlyn. You know Clint Eastwood's $1 Million Baby? That's old school. This is the new era. Meet the $1 Billion Baby, Caitlyn Clark. The game changer. The phenomenon. The woman redefining what it means to be a baller. She's not just opening doors, she's smashing through them. Billion-door baller. The Caitlyn Clark effect. It's not a movie, but it's just as wild, just as real. Forbes is talking. The world is watching. And this is just the beginning. Forget $1 Million Baby. This is the $1 Billion Baby. The Caitlyn Clark effect is rewriting the playbook. Are you ready for the next big thing? $1 Billion baller. Forbes just released current valuations estimate for the WNBA league exploding from $1.16 billion in 2024 to $3.2 billion in 2025. These numbers crush previous season's low double-digit growth, again amplifying the billions-dollar Caitlyn Clark effect. Look at this. According to Forbes' 2025 valuations, the total value of the existing 12 WNBA teams is estimated to be approximately $3.264 billion, based on an average team valuation of $272 million. The 12 WNBA teams have a combined valuation of $1.16 billion. Individually, the teams range from $140 million for the Las Vegas Aces to $55 million. That was last year, think about that. It's basically triple. Look at this. Revenue and valuation growth percentages from last year. Indiana Fever's valuation grew by 311% and revenue grew by 252%. Caitlyn Clark effect. This is the only one that really makes any sense. I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds here, don't worry, but I've done some business valuation work before. Nothing this complex, obviously, but I've seen enough to spot when something's just off. And what we're seeing here, yeah, there's a bit of inflation baked in. That kind of future hope pricing. Look at the New York Liberty, for example. Their revenue growth versus the actual valuation? It's wild. The numbers just don't match up across the board, except for the Indiana Fever. That one tracks a little more realistically. Think of it like this. If you were looking at this like a company, you wouldn't just be watching revenue, you'd be zeroed in on profit. But in this case, the stock price is flying way past the profit. That's a signal. People are banking heavily on what they think the future holds, and that's a massive risk. It's out of balance. But still, it's kind of incredible to witness, because what it does tell us is that there are people out there who genuinely believe in the WNBA's future. That's a huge shift. I mean, if someone wanted to scoop up the Liberty or the Atlanta Dream right now, they'd be way overpaying. But it's not about what it is today, it's what they hope it becomes tomorrow. And that kind of optimism, that's powerful. Look at this per Forbes. The Indiana Fever are now valued at $370 million, second highest in the WNBA, and lead the league with $32 million in revenue. Caitlyn Clark isn't just changing the game, she's changing the business. That's just crazy. I mean, seriously crazy. You're looking at a valuation that's over 10 times their annual revenue. That's insane. Now take a look at the chart. Valuation's the blue bar, revenue's the black line. At first glance, it might seem like they're kind of close, but nope, not even. You gotta look carefully. The revenue line's over here, way lower. Big difference. Let's take the New York Liberty as the example. Their revenue, around $25 million. Sounds solid, right? But their valuation, over $300 million. That's a massive gap. It just shows how much future hype and market optimism is baked into these numbers. You're not paying for what the team is right now, you're paying for what people hope it'll become. Alright, let's break this down real quick. Here's that Forbes article. The WNBA's Most Valuable Teams, 2025. For the last 2 years, the WNBA's business has soared above the rim, with league-wide attendance reaching 2.4 million during the 2024 regular season, up 48% year-over-year, and more than 54 million unique viewers tuning into national telecasts. Still, Beyond a handful of transactions involving tiny slivers of teams, there hasn't been much data to suggest how the momentum is translating to franchise valuations. That is about to change. The New York Liberty recently sold a significant minority share, a percentage in the mid-teens, according to a person with knowledge of the deal, at a $450 million valuation, and the Connecticut Sun are currently on the market, seeking either a new limited partner or a control sale. For now, some investment bankers around the sport believe that the economics of the Sun and other teams near the bottom of the WNBA's financial leaderboard don't justify even a $100 million price tag. But with demand from would-be owners far outstripping supply in the 13-team league, many WNBA insiders believe the cost to acquire Connecticut could approach Cleveland's ongoing bid for an expansion franchise, believed to be roughly $250 million. Let's be real, the Connecticut Sun are not worth $250 million. Not even close. But here's the thing, the WNBA is hot right now. Everybody wants in. So what happens? You've got buyers who are jumping at the chance. And yeah, they're willing to overpay. It's all about getting in while the hype is high, even if the numbers don't exactly back it up right now. Let's get right to the main point. Here we go, because those numbers are really breaking down all the team valuations. Here we go. Most obviously, there is the so-called Caitlin Clark effect. The wave of interest surrounding the Indiana Fever's superstar guard, who is currently sidelined by a muscle strain in her leg, but has sent attendance and ticket prices spiking wherever she has played. According to marketing agency Two Circles, the 23-year-old Clark was the most talked about female athlete from any sport on social media over the past year, and posts mentioning her had the highest engagement, a fact that is helping attract new sponsors to her stable, as well as Indiana's and the broader leagues. Across the WNBA, teams generated $76 million in sponsorship revenue in 2024, spanning 551 deals, according to research firm Sponsor United. The Fever, meanwhile, led the league last season in revenue, an estimated $32 million, and attendance, 17,000 per game, a hair better than the NBA's Pacers notched in the same arena, while becoming the most followed women's basketball team online. At the same time, the WNBA's upward trajectory extends well beyond Clark, starting with other young stars such as Chicago Sky forward Angel Reese and Dallas Wings rookie Paige Bueckers, who, Two Circles notes, each have more Instagram, TikTok, and X followers than Clark's 4.4 million, with 11.2 million and 6.6 million respectively. Honestly, this is what absolutely drives me nuts, and I think it could be a huge problem for the WNBA moving forward. If the league refuses to recognize the reality of what's actually happening, everything they're building could be on quicksand. It's a house of cards, and frankly, a house of cards built on quicksand. Because here's the thing, TikTok followers, Instagram likes, and viral moments don't automatically translate into merchandise sales, ticket sales, or TV ratings. And those are the things that actually bring in money. The money isn't coming from Angel Reese racking up Instagram followers. Okay, just look at what happened with the resale market for that Indiana Fever game in Chicago when Caitlin Clark wasn't playing. Prices absolutely collapsed, even though Angel Reese, who's supposed to be one of the league's big stars driving all this hype and valuation, was playing. The game was technically sold out in advance, but when it came down to it, the actual turnout wasn't what was expected. And then, conveniently, we hear that some seats weren't available because of construction at the United Center. That's the story they're going with. I wanted to share these numbers because it's wild to see how inflated the valuations are compared to what the teams are actually bringing in. Just think about it. The Fever led with $32 million in revenue, not profit, and yet the franchise is being valued at around $370 million. That's a massive gap, and it's not sustainable if it's not backed up by real financial results. All of this is a bet on the future, and it's a big risk if the league doesn't get real about where the money's really coming from. Then his just goes down to have the list right. The most valuable WNBA teams, 2025. And this is where it really starts to hit. Let's just go down the list, right? Take the New York Liberty. Revenue is around $25 million. Not profit, revenue. So if you're talking about a valuation of $500 million, it would take 20 years of consistent revenue just to match that number. And again, that's revenue, not profit. That's insane. And yeah, I get it. This happens sometimes in sports. Teams get massively overvalued because, let's be honest, owning a sports franchise isn't always about sound business. It's a vanity play and ego play. That's why you see massive numbers attached to teams in big markets, New York, LA, maybe Miami. It's about the name, the city, the bragging rights. Take Inter Miami, for example. I don't even have the exact figure in front of me, but I guarantee you their valuation is sky high right now. Why? Messi. Glamour. Global appeal. But that doesn't always align with actual profits. Now look at the Indiana Fever, valued at $370 million, with $32 million in annual revenue. That means, again, it would take over 11 years just to bring in enough revenue to match that valuation. And again, not even touching profit yet. Then there's the Seattle Storm, valued at $330 million, but they're pulling in only $21 million a season. That's a massive gap. And here's the important takeaway for players. This is why salaries aren't skyrocketing yet. Because it's not just about the revenue coming in. You've still got to subtract travel, hotels, meals, front office, marketing, logistics, all those behind-the-scenes costs. So yeah, the valuations look flashy, but the financials behind the scenes? Much tighter than people think. 4. $310 million. Las Vegas Aces. Revenue, $22 million. 5. $300 million. Phoenix Mercury. Revenue, $25 million. 6. $250 million. Dallas Wings. Revenue, $15 million. 7. $240 million. Chicago Sky. Revenue, $16 million. 8. $235 million. Los Angeles Sparks. Revenue, $16 million. 9. $230 million. Minnesota Lynx. Revenue, $16 million. 10. $205 million. Washington Mystics. Revenue, $13 million. 11. $200 million. Connecticut Sun. Revenue, $14 million. 12. $190 million. Atlanta Dream. Revenue, $11 million. To rank the most valuable WNBA franchises, Forbes examined recent transaction data and spoke to more than 30 industry insiders, including team and league executives, owners, investment bankers, advisors, and consultants. Revenue figures are estimated for the 2024 season and are rounded to the nearest $1 million. Playoff games were excluded from the revenue calculations. Team values include the economics of a team's arena, but not the value of the arena real estate itself. The valuations similarly take into account ancillary revenue streams that are captured in the team's financial statements, such as income from sponsorships or events at the team's practice facility, without directly measuring the value of those other assets. The Golden State Valkyries, an expansion club that began play in May 2025, were omitted from this year's ranking. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. What do you think about the current valuations compared to actual revenue? Do you see a potential collapse in the future? Or do you think the league is making the right bet by banking on this kind of growth? Are these numbers just too optimistic? Or is the WNBA really on the verge of something big? And of course, let's talk about the whole Angel Reese factor, because it's clear this isn't just about Caitlin Clark. Who else do you think is driving the hype and valuations for the league right now? Appreciate you checking out this video as always. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. See you soon.